Hello and welcome to an episode of Pop Culture Geekery. I'm Joe Solis, and today we're going to go over my next 50 favorite movies. If you missed part one, I'm going to put the link below. So let's get to it.
Now, I owe it to myself to tell you, Mr. Griswold, that if you're thinking of taking the tribe cross-country, this is the automobile you should be using, the Wagon Queen family truckster. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
I don't want to drive it. I just want my old car back, okay? I'm not falling for this bit.
No way. Let's go, Russ.
While our family vacations were not as zany, we definitely shared some characteristics with the Griswolds on our family trips. I still love to play the song Holiday Road when we're about to go on vacation.
What are your prime directives?
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
It's good. It's very good.
10 years before he brought us Starship Troopers, director Paul Verhoeven showed us a dystopian future where police officer Alex Murphy is gunned down, but through the power of technology, he is transformed into Robocop. The memorable design for the title character and Verhoeven's penchant for over-the-top violence makes for a wild ride.
I wish the rain would stop just once.
It can't rain all the time.
Eric?
After a tragic on-set accident took the life of actor Brandon Lee, there is a somberness that exists inside and outside of this movie for me. On the surface, it's a supernatural tale of revenge, but at its core, it's a deep love story. Even listening to the soundtrack feels like it takes me back into this world. This movie was the final stop-motion work for visual effects legend Ray Harryhausen, and he gets to play with many Greek mythological creatures such as Medusa and the Kraken. It's loosely based on the Greek myth of Perseus and is a great adventure that even though it came out in the 80s, it still has an old-school Hollywood feel to it. Another revenge story. Why do I have so many on my list? Quentin Tarantino's stylistic filmmaking is taken to the next level here for me. I love the old school 70s feel and the martial arts action, but funny enough, I watched this one multiple times but only saw Volume 2 once and didn't enjoy it as much, which is why I only have Volume 1 here.
Don't go that way.
What was that?
I said, don't go that way. Never go that way.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, if she'd have kept on going down that way, she'd have gone straight to that castle.
One of just a handful of theatrical movies that Muppets creator Jim Henson got to direct, a young Jennifer Connelly is paired against legendary musician David Bowie, who plays the Goblin King, as she races to save her baby brother by solving his labyrinth. The creativity of Henson and his company is fully on display in this magical movie.
What is the nothing?
It's the emptiness that's left. It is like a despair, destroying this world. And I have been trying to help it.
But why?
Because people who have no hopes are easy to control.
Another movie where I read the book years later, it's not fair to compare the two because while there is a lot that stays the same, the movie with that soundtrack and that theme song just bring the story to life. The idea that people's unbelief is causing the world of Fantasia to be destroyed is a premise I've always thought was simultaneously tragic and brilliant.
Well, yes, it's me. It's me. Huh? I'm not against you guys, so keep it down. Just keep it down, hey? I'm just looking for a man who calls Matalo. Not yet.
To me, director Robert Rodriguez, who's just up the road here in Austin from us, and Quentin Tarantino are synonymous, as they usually have a hand in each other's movies. Yet another revenge story on my list. Antonio Banderas stars as Rodriguez's character El Mariachi. He and Salma Hayek must fight against Mexican drug lords in this over-the-top but highly enjoyable action film.
Trapped here like rats. Small little rats with no hair and one leg.
Another film adapted from a book. Disney had their hand in its creation, but this definitely was not a Disney movie. I've had friends tell me that this one gave them nightmares. I will admit there are some traumatizing scenes, but it makes the story have actual stakes, even in a movie about a toaster and his friends.
Item 1, a cheery disposition. I am never cross. Item 2, rosy cheeks. Obviously. Item 3, play games all sorts. Well, I'm sure the children will find my games extremely diverting.
Yeah, this paper, where did you get it from? I thought I'd tore it up.
Excuse me. Item 4, you must be kind. I am kind, but extremely firm. Have you lost something?
Yeah.
Walt Disney loved his book adaptations, and despite many clashes with the original author on this one, the result was a memorable and undying classic that's practically perfect in every way.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Tim Burton's second feature film teamed him up with his future Batman Michael Keaton in this zany and dark comedy that has a stellar cast and a story that is so out there it guarantees one wild ride.
Hey, I want to hear about what Danny did at the beach. Yeah,
That was nothing. Oh, sure, nothing, Zuko,
come
right?
on, Danny. You got no drawers, right? Yeah. Come on. Tell us about that girl.
What'd you do this summer, Sandy?
Oh, I spent most of it at the beach. I met a boy there.
Hauled your cookies all the way to the beach for some guy?
Well, he was sort of special.
There ain't no such thing.
I love a good musical, and Grease is one of the best. Like a stage production come to life on the big screen, a barrage of catchy tunes and memorable characters make this one timeless. In my early days of discovering anime, I came across this brutal and action-packed tale that shows the true power of what anime could do in terms of animation and storytelling. Jokingly referred to by some as Avengers 2.5, while I did enjoy the first two Avengers movies, this is the one where I feel the turning point happened and really ramped things up on our way to Thanos. That fight between Cap and Iron Man at the end is still heartbreaking for me.
There's too many of them!
This is by far my favorite Avengers movie. Yes, even more than Endgame. The movie has an energy all of its own, and the Russo brothers cram so much into this briskly paced story, plus it has one of the best cliffhangers of all time.
I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
The more I've watched this movie over the years, the more I realize had all the prequels been this way, they probably wouldn't have been as despised. Is it perfect? No. But the story of the fall of Anakin, the Jedi, and the Republic is worth the rewatch.
Superconducting quantum interference device, SQUID. The receptor rig, when I'm putting on your head, sends a signal to the recorder. We call it being wired, but there's no wire. Tell me what you know.
Just what I've read, that the technology was developed for the feds to replace the body wire, and now it's gone black market.
As of making this video, this is the only movie on my list to have its own review on my channel. A great cast of established and rising stars of its time. It's an eerie look into the future that has a lot of in-story elements that came to pass in real life, especially this year.
God, look up there!
What the hell is that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Another actor I feel was born for their role. Christopher Reeve will forever be my Superman. He plays the character with such perfect balance of strength and innocence. Plus, that theme song by John Williams was so epic and powerful.
Don't kill me, man! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man!
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
People scoffed at the idea of Michael Keaton as Batman after his comedic performance in Mr. Mom. But boy did he prove them wrong. Led by the dark and brooding style of director Tim Burton, an insanely memorable portrayal of the Joker by Jack Nicholson, and that beautiful Danny Elfman score, how can you not love this movie?
But if you make yourself more than just a man, if you devote yourself to an ideal, and if they can't stop you, then you become something else entirely. Which is? Legend, Mr. Wayne.
After a steady decline in movie quality through the 90s, Batman was absent from the big screen for 8 years. Then visionary director Christopher Nolan literally took Batman back to his beginnings as we get a great origin story that has some amazing themes woven into it about fear and how to overcome it.
See, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Some people claim this sequel is overrated, but I think the power of this story is not just in the gritty crime drama feel, not just the late Heath Ledger's creepy performance, but the lessons that it teaches about order versus chaos, and some of the philosophies that the Joker spouts are still being exemplified in our world today.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs. I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Another case where people scoffed at Bruce Willis taking an action role after his comedic performance in the TV show Moonlighting, and once again we have an actor proving everyone wrong. Willis's embodiment of the everyman as John McClane cemented him as one of the best action stars.
You see, I cannot find it. It's been 20 years now. I started to lose confidence. I just work for Vicente to pay the bills. It's not a lot of money in revenge.
Well, I certainly hope you find him someday.
You ready then?
Whether I am or not, you've been more than fair.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die.
A unique book adaptation in that actor Peter Falk is reading to his grandson, played by Fred Savage, while we, the audience, are shown parts of the book as he reads it. The fairy tale sections feature an outstanding cast with a ton of quotable lines.
Get away from her.
No! What did you say?
Ohana means family. Family means nobody
gets left behind
or forgotten.
Right as Disney was making the decision to retire traditional cel-shaded animated movies, we got this gem that made me lament their decision even more. The title characters are great, and the core lesson about the importance of family is heartwarming.
November 15th of 58. All was well, another day saved, when his cape snagged on a missile pin.
Thunderhead was not the brightest bulb.
Stratogale, April 23rd, 57. Cape caught in a jet turbine.
You can't generalize about this.
Metaman, express elevator. Diner guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Right as superhero movies were starting to gain steam, director Brad Bird and Pixar took advantage by putting out a great story about a famous superhero having to come to terms with the fact that his glory days are behind him. But a new threat shows him that life has a way of giving you what you need, in this case, his family.
You are a toy! You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear, you're an action figure! You are a child's plaything!
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
The movie that put Pixar on the map. I've always loved the concept of what does a toy do when it's in danger of being replaced. These characters have since become staples of the Disney lineup.
Look at this. Wow. This is special. This is very, very unusual.
What? What is it?
It's a dingle hopper. Humans use these little babies to straighten their hair out. See, just a little twirl here and a yank there, and boy, ole. Yeah, got an aesthetically pleasing configuration of hair that humans go nuts over.
A dingle hopper.
What I learned later is now referred to as the Disney Renaissance. This movie marked a time when Disney was returning to form. Stellar animation and amazing songs started a trend of classics in the making.
Just hold still.
That hurts!
If you'd hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much.
Well, if you hadn't have run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the West Wing!
Well, you should learn to control your temper.
The second movie in the Disney Renaissance is my favorite Disney movie of all time. As the movie states, a tale as old as time, the story of falling in love with someone because of their inner beauty really speaks to me.
Freedom. You're a prisoner? It's all part and parcel of the whole genie gig.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
Itty bitty living space.
Oh, genie. That's terrible. But oh, to be free. Not to have to go, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Disney's next hit utilized the voice talents of the late, great Robin Williams. Another collection of great songs, a great cast, and a great Disney villain make for another memorable experience.
Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Ah, you see?
This one, I vividly remember what it was like to see in the theater. From that opening sunrise sequence with the Circle of Life playing to the end when the logo just booms on the screen when the credits roll. this one is a true masterpiece.
Brains finally scab over. All the vermin will drown. The accumulated filth of all their sex and murder will foam up around their waists. And all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper, "No."
Fans of the graphic novel are definitely split when it comes to this movie, but I've seen it several times now and I still love it. It has Zack Snyder's signature style, and all of the things that I liked in the graphic novel are still intact.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord
Another H.G. Wells novel adapted for film, the first thing that always caught my eye was the design of the Martian spaceships. I love how elegant and deadly they were. A very early disaster movie if you've never seen it.
Watch this, watch this.
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd are perfectly matched in their now iconic roles. The pacing, the story beats, and the music all come together in what I consider a near perfect movie.
Shark still looks fake.
Even though its then future year of 2015 has come to pass, there is still something charming and hopeful about the future that they envisioned. But like most people, I'm still waiting for my flying car and my hoverboard.
You ain't Seamus McFly. You look like him, though. Especially with that dog ugly hat. You kin to that, hey, barber? What's your name, dude?
Mart Eastwood. Clint Eastwood.
I still remember seeing the teaser for part 3 coming up at the end of part 2 while we were in the theaters, and I was super excited to see how it all wrap up. I thought the Old West setting was brilliant, and I love how the trilogy ended in this one.
He's an ugly little spud, isn't he?
I think he can hear you, Ray.
Don't move. It won't hurt you. What happened? Are you okay?
He slimed me.
A stellar ensemble cast, which features some of the best comedic names of the 80s. This movie takes an out-there premise, but finds a way to ground it in reality and makes us ready to believe them.
Come on. Do it. Do it! Come on. Come on. Kill me! I'm here! Kill me! I'm here! Kill me! Come on! Kill me! I'm here! Come on! Do it now! Kill me!
Coming back to good old Arnie, here we have him as the leader of an elite military unit that must take on an alien hunter as it tracks them through the jungle. Arnold's team is full of great characters, but it's that final showdown between him and the Predator that goes down in history as one of the best movie fights.
I'll be back.
After gaining fame for playing Conan the Barbarian, Arnold started on a string of hits. Director James Cameron would enjoy similar success, as this movie solidified them both as household names. Add in top performances by Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn in a sci-fi story that's one part action and one part love story.
You say, no problemo. And if someone comes up to you with an attitude, you say, eat me. And if you want to shine them on, it's hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby.
For me, part 1 and 2 are just one big movie. Judgment Day is one of those sequels that's better than the original, but mainly because it takes what made the original so good and builds on that. But it's not all just retread. We actually get a great new villain in Robert Patrick as the dreaded T-1000.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi are on a mission from Gad. This wild movie that's not exactly a musical, but there's enough singing and dancing to qualify in my opinion. Their mission to save the orphanage that they grew up in leads to many wacky encounters, including a car chase with Illinois Nazis towards the end that always cracks me up.
A box without hinges, key or lid, yet golden treasure inside is hid.
Let us give it a chance, my precious. Ah, eggs! Eggs it is!
Oh, bother!
For me personally, this is the Hobbit movie that needs to be watched before Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. The Rankin and Bass Company had their hand in many famous animated projects in the 70s and 80s. This one had its own unique style and the designs for the characters, and while it is a condensed version of the story, I think it still captures it perfectly. Plus, I challenge you not to be creeped out by their version of Gollum.
You have my sword. And you have my bow.
And my axe.
Another trailer I vividly remember seeing. I was super excited to see this come to the big screen and that we would get all 3 movies in just 3 years. The dedication of the cast and the crew is evident in every bit of this project. The first movie here perfectly sets up the world and the characters.
Fell deeds awake.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the Red Dawn! For the Avengers!
The journey continues here with our heroes as they deal with separation and loss. Then we work our way towards one of the most harrowing movie battles of all time, the Battle of Helm's Deep, which still gives me chills when I watch it.
Then let us be rid of it. Once and for all. Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you. Come on!
It all comes together in this massive, and I mean massive conclusion, as the sheer size of everything is elevated. The stakes, the threat level, even the size of the actual armies shown is elevated. It's even worth all those multiple endings to finally sit back and enjoy the fact that the journey is over. After already having created one memorable character in Han Solo, Harrison Ford reteamed with George Lucas, and this time Steven Spielberg came along, as they would end up bringing to life another character that would become one of the most iconic characters in movie history. I love everything about this movie, the adventure, the set pieces. It's just so perfect in the pulp style that it's done.
Well, he who finds the Grail must face the final challenge.
What final challenge?
3 devices of such lethal cunning.
Booby traps?
Oh, yes. But I found the clues that will safely take us through in the Chronicles of St. Anselm.
Well, what are they?
Can't you remember? I wrote them down in my diary so that I wouldn't have to remember.
What is still the last indie movie, in my opinion, this is another movie that I consider to be near perfect. What more coveted item can an archaeologist go after than the literal Holy Grail? And Nazis are after it too? And Sean Connery is Indy's father? I mean, by the time they ride off into the sunset with that great John Williams score, I'm completely satisfied.
Jesus Christ, Apone, what is going on?
Spassky and Crow are down! Dietrich! Crow! Dietrich, Frost, off the board!
Sound off!
Frost! Frost! Where's Spassky? Where's Spassky?
Let's rock!
While I do appreciate the original for its significance in sci-fi movie history, it's this one that's ingrained in me. A rare sequel that can be understood even without having seen the original. Sigourney Weaver is surrounded by a great group of actors that bring the Space Marines to life, but in turn, Weaver brings back her character of Ellen Ripley and further solidifies her as one of the best movie characters of all time.
What is it? Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
I purposely left out the episode number because it was a different feel back then before George Lucas retitled them. I was too young to have seen this in theaters, so TV is how I caught it. Being from a small town, I could relate to Luke Skywalker wanting to go off and see the galaxy. And with all the fantasy elements mixed with sci-fi, I was hooked for life.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
I wish I could remember what it was like to first hear Vader utter those famous lines, but again, I was too young. But I will say that even as a kid, I could tell that the story was stacked against our heroes. And I'm sure I didn't have to wait as long with that killer cliffhanger to see how it resolved.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
I was too young to know anything about the classic complaints that people have about this movie, and I'm kind of glad because it allowed me to enjoy it more. Although the thing that I still feel the most when I watch this one is the relationship between Luke and Vader. That father-son dynamic really hit me, and the tragedy of Vader having to die in order to redeem himself really stuck with me as well. One thing is for sure, no matter how old I get or how many new movies they make, nothing, and I mean nothing, will ever compare to these original 3 for me.